Welcome, 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 welcome one, welcome all, welcome, welcome. The
You know
show
what?
number
I, I thought about getting a beer before the show, but I'm like, I'm gonna be falling asleep. Shit, that's what usually happens when I drink during the show. If you notice, I've been staying with water. I drank last show was your birthday and shit, but still, even with a Bud Light, I was getting sleepy. So I just decided water only during the shows, but I might have to get one today. Shit, I ain't working. I ain't doing nothing. Well, we are working, but shit.
and cheer up, man.
Look,
don't
like,
don't don't
hey,
depress our.
Tom.
We just started show 80. Don't depress our people already, man.
Hey, some people get it, some people don't. Like, uh, you ever been working on your car, and your old lady come out and ask, "How is everything going?" And shit,
I hate it.
and something you messed up something, and you just frustrated. You know,
The funny
people
part
just
is,
understand.
hold on, let me turn this mic down a little bit. The funny part is, the funny part is, they always ask right after you actually mess something up or whatever. Like either right before they ask, you either just had like a breakthrough success, or you just messed something up, and you're like, nigga, no, not right now. How's it going?
Hmm.
I hate, of course, I'm telling you about. I hate you, and I hate this car, and I hate everything. I hate it. Don't ask me about it, because they always do it exactly when they always do it exactly when
Hmm.
you just messed up or had a breakthrough, one way or the other. Niggas not
Man,
super. Sorry for screaming at y'all. Uh, that's funny.
man, what time?
But it,
What time's the sun go down today? I gotta
uh,
figure that
I want to say nine. This nigga got work on his mind. 9:04. Sunset is at 9:04.
Hey, I might be. I might not. I'm not gonna finish tonight because I gotta go to the parts store to get get some parts because I broke some shit. I broke some shit, but I can work on something though. Damn.
That's funny.
Mm.
Well,
Anyways, hey, how y'all doing out there? Thanks for
yeah,
tuning
thank
in.
you.
Show at number 80. We don't want to keep y'all on the end of the pressing move. We professionals. We can still make it happen. So yeah. How y'all doing out there? Thanks for all the top fans. Thanks for all the new fans that's going to tune in to this. We most definitely appreciate y'all. We appreciate the people who hate the show. I can't say that y'all motivators because we really don't care, but we appreciate y'all too for tuning in for however long y'all tune in just to say something negative.
Do we have look? It's kind of. Do we have people saying negative stuff like before?
No, in the comments, no, because in the comments, your name pop up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
They
that's
want
true.
to do, your name pop up, so you know exactly who you are. We go to your profile. We can block you immediately if we wanted to, right? But it'd be people who never shared or commented that be saying, that be talking about like asking me questions about the show. I'd be like, when did you watch? How? Like, you never commented nothing. You not saying that. Like, I don't even know you support. How am I supposed to know you support and you don't never say nothing or share nothing? Like, I don't
That's
understand it.
top fan Angel said, I only seen it on YouTube be a bit negative. That's funny. It was funny though. Like, they're like, man, y'all might want to hang it up. Like, dude, like you got one subscriber, just like yourself. What are you talking about? It was funny to me.
YouTube is our main platform. YouTube is like kind of different to work on because this is different, but that's
It's,
cool. You
no,
know.
I ain't sure, but it was just funny to me. Every time I think about it, I don't think about it, but when they do pop up,
Yeah,
it's always funny to me. I guess
yeah. And YouTube, you can hide behind a screen name too.
that's true. So,
So
that's true. Yeah, man. So show number 80. Uh, 2 years in, we're doing one show a week. That's crazy, man. I like 80 ain't like a big milestone, like 50 or 75, I guess, or you know, saying 100 clearly. But all right, man.
But I mean, it's not like a big milestone. But when you add on all of the shows that we did before, in Epiphany Radio days, like we well over 100 something shows. Might even because we was doing 2 shows. Let's say 2 shows a week from. It seemed like 2 years, but it was from April to October. So let's see, May, June, July, August, September. So 6 months, 2 shows a week. That's 8 shows a month. It might be I'm just gonna say 150.
Just maybe want to maybe look at that old contract. I know we did the State of the Union thing, but it said like so this was the old Epiphany Radio days, and they say 12 Facebook posts advertisement. All day covers on Twitter. The days of the podcast. Eight plus shows. Like we never did more than 2 shows a week, so I don't know where the plus came from. But 8 plus shows with online comments and or live reading. That's the funniest thing ever, man. Hey, and like I told y'all last week, the funniest part about it all is that the writing is in orange. Like the writing is in orange. It's just incredible.
So horrible, man. Horrible.
It is so bad.
Horrible. Hey, but we learned so much. Hey, that's how you start off. You gotta start off horrible. You like ain't nobody coming in just raw from the gate unless they just got a gift or something.
That's true. That's true. But I can dig that.
Hey, we made so much progress. just even by like our approach on stuff. But I mean, yeah, I don't like talking about certain stuff on the air because I forget. But I mean, yeah, our whole approach is different. But I mean, you know, maybe we'll be talking about this again. Like, yeah, remember we used to do that, but then now we're doing this, and it's working even better. I can't believe we used to do that. It might be the same thing, you know, in a year. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. I don't know, man. Growth is what we're all about, right? When it comes down to it. All growth. I'm trying to hold on.
What's up? You trying to put something on the screen?
No, I'm trying to pull up the topic, but that's nothing popping up. But the list ain't popping up.
Yeah, I don't even it don't even show like how many people are watching.
We got 3 people watching. Top fan Angel for sure. My mother was here, but I think she left. I got a whole list of the things, but I can't come it up. Oh, y'all bear with us.
That's what I'm saying. It's like before the show, before we started, it was acting weird. So
I can't. I don't understand.
Well, the show must go on.
The show must go on. Hey, so look, I feel like we say this every show.
Yeah, we can do it
every day here. We want to get some. We still, while I look for this list, we still want feedback from y'all as far as like what kind of shows or what kind of guests you guys want us to have on. You know, if you. I got stuff that I'm definitely working on as far as like having like guests come on. Like we had Dom come on at one time. he's something like an activist, I guess you can call him. That's what I would call him. Just some other stuff that I want to get uh, like specialists on and stuff. But if you guys got ideas or um, stuff that y'all want to see or just topics y'all want to see talked about, definitely let us know, and we can work on trying to get some of those people. Um, Whatever it is, I don't want to put no examples in your mind. I want whatever you guys feel. Um, but we definitely want to. We want to know what y'all want us to talk about. Like, cause we can always do, saying um, today's news, and we can always talk about, racism, and racial topics is one of the things that we talk about the most on here. Um, we didn't have relationship things. And so I don't know. I think we kind of walking the line of we don't want to forget all the stuff that's going on right now, like all the stuff that you don't want to go away, like the protest and Black Lives Matter type stuff. But you also want to switch up the topic so that you're not just laying into the same people that's already there for you. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of just walking that line. So we want to have some stuff that's informative and engaging, but we also want to have some stuff that's fun and lighthearted sometimes. So we ain't just constantly uh, pounding the audience, man. Just pounding you guys out to the point where, um, where you're just like, man, it ain't fun no more. And I can definitely understand that. So I don't know. Just let us know. Angel said, I need to make a will, maybe have an attorney on. I know you have some connections. I do. For sure. I will I can actually work on that right away. Put it in my handy dandy notebook. For anybody that grew up in the '90s, you'll know that is a Blues Clues reference. I had to tell nobody though. That's actually a good one, Angel. Thanks for putting that out there. She said she's still wait. She said I'm still waiting on Byron to do a food challenge. I want to see you guys win. You hear that, Byron?
Yeah, I heard the food challenge. See, she said you guys. She didn't specifically say
I
me.
didn't read that. I didn't read that. She said people aren't prepared to die. Life insurance will, etc. I agree with that. Um, she says it's a blessing to give one to your family. Man, I agree with that. That's definitely not especially of mine. Um, because I always thought about it like I don't really got no family as far as like kids and stuff like that. So without having life insurance, who really cares? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say who cares, but like who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like
So you talking about life and sandwich for you? Life insurance for you?
I think it said life and sandwiches.
Life insurance.
You said sandwiches. But yeah, we talk about life insurance.
I don't know. We're gonna have to play that back after the show to see if I said sandwiches. I don't know.
I don't know why you said it. But you did. But yeah, we talk about life insurance. Yeah, like I don't know. Clearly, it's important, right? Like my man Willie D said, it's like hitting the lottery because you guaranteed to hit. Like no matter what, you guaranteed to hit. But I don't feel like it's as important if you don't have kids and stuff, or if you're not married or whatever.
Well, I don't. I disagree because what if something happened to you right now, and your family, they couldn't pay for the funeral because you ain't had no life insurance. They ain't had the money. It's unexpected. Like you young, You're a fresh 30. A fresh 30, I may add. You know, if y'all didn't hear me, the second time, fresh 30. So if something happened to you, like nobody expecting that. So, you know, if you got the life insurance, they can at least pay for the funeral and then have some ends to spend on them. Like you ain't just die. Like you ain't just die. So
Hey, hey, like I told my family, this is a legit thing I told my family. Nigga, leave me. Let me become the city's problem. You know what I'm saying? Let me become the county's issue. You know what I'm saying? Let them figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Just let, like, you know, because what they gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm, all right, so I die, I'm at the coroner's office, and my family don't come claim my body, like, then what? Like, eventually, it's just like, we gotta get this nigga out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta do something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let them deal with it. That's their problem. That's all I'm saying. I paid enough taxes in my lifetime, even at 30, where I should be the county's issue if I was to go today. Like, just leave it to the county.
They're just gonna put you in a bag and bury you in a ditch.
Nigga, I'm dead. I don't care. Like, I don't care. So wait, so Andrew said
Hey,
he.
you say you don't. Hold on. You say you don't care, but you don't know. Nobody knows what happens after death. So you could be dead and be like, hold on. They discover in the afterlife that the year, 5,000 that you gonna come back to life. Don't
With the
don't
body, but you don't
forget.
got no body.
Oh, but it's advanced. They can take DNA from your bones, and you could be alive again or something. But they didn't burnt your shit, so you can't come back.
Hey,
You never know.
leave me to the streets, like Future said.
Like leave you a ghost.
Yeah, I think it's probably fun anyway. Angel said he's hungry because he definitely said sandwiches. She said you got food challenges on your brain. See? You said you did say sandwiches. She said yes because it means we got to pay. You don't have to pay. They could drop me off at Case Western Reserve at the Science Building and tell them to have fun. Have at it. Cure some cancer or something. Do some good with the body, I guess.
Chop you up and hey, at my high school, like every 2 years, um, they have a cadaver come, a cadaver leg come through. This is in high school.
A leg?
A leg.
You
This is in
y'all
high
did.
school. Like
That's what you paid. That's what you paid all that. That's what your parents paid all that money for. You can cut niggas' legs open.
Hey, so I wasn't in that class, but like I had damn sure went to the door to see did they really have a human leg. They had this cutting up rats and shit, but and the rats was stinking. You know what I'm saying? So a fucking rat. But they had a real human leg. I didn't believe it, but they had it.
What's the grossest thing? It's kind of random. Like, so none of my topics load up, so we're just gonna random talk, I guess, and whatever. But like, what's the one thing? So I'm talking to the audience and you be like, what's the weirdest thing? Like you remember, like not necessarily like dissecting, but like just like weird stuff in like school, like high school, or maybe even middle school, I guess. But like just like dissecting or having a class where they cut open human legs, like that's just weird to me. Like especially in like high school, like if you going to school to be a coroner or like some kind of a medical a surgeon or something like that, I get that part. Like nigga, in high school, I just don't like what's up. I don't know. It's a weird story. So while you think about it though, let's see. Angel said term life is affordable and eliminates the stress and hope to leave them in a better spot. Emily said we ain't doing that. Angel said your family will claim you, but I know what you want. Got me off. Like,
Hold on, I'm about to switch to the Wi-Fi.
I'm just saying, like, just draw me
I
off.
got disconnected.
For those of you that don't know, they're building a house inside of Byron's house. You got buzz on the back door.
Okay, you can still hear that?
Yes,
The
super
office
loud.
is right next to The office is right next to the construction site, so can't do nothing about it.
She said, I never dissected anything in school, but in Girl Scouts, we dissected a baby. Oh, no, it's cruel. That's cruel.
Well, let's say if it died naturally, is it cruel?
I don't know. It just seemed bad. Like, did y'all kill the rats, or were the rats already dead?
I mean, it was already dead, but they were rats, so they could have killed them. There was some big ass rats. I probably fed them just to kill them.
They killed them in y'all school. They killed them in the boiler room and brought them upstairs. Like, here y'all go.
Right.
Oh, y'all are so funny. Rich ass school. Y'all didn't bring in human legs in there? What class was that?
Biology.
Yeah. So look, biology, I love science. Biology is the only science that I didn't like love or whatever. Like, I really had no interest in it. Every other science though, I definitely had interest, man. Andrew said I kept it in a brown paper bag on my shelf for a year. That is disgusting. And if I was your parents, I would have to cut you out or something. At least put it inside of
she kept the owl on her for a year.
Yeah, in a brown paper bag, like not even like a sealed container. Like, you didn't see you left it in some Tupperware. You see you left it on the shelf for a year. That is disgusting. And everybody said, "Yeah, we can hear it." Yeah, it sounded like he was using the bus on himself. So we got to get a better location for his office, man. Studio's too close. Ebony J said, we did wild pigs. Really? Are there wild pigs? We never had to. Did we dissect anything? Like, I feel like we did, or I feel like we were supposed to. I don't think I ever did any like frogs or anything. Like, I don't think I actually ever did it. And I don't think I had to or whatever. Andrew said, I was a kid, I didn't know any better. What do you mean? You was a kid, you didn't know no better than to keep a dead cut up owl or yourself in your bedroom? And then your room stink? It's an owl. That's so strange to me. Ebony J said, if we told they where you wanted your body is claiming it, and we have to pay for the transport. If I die in the house, it's like, man, somebody dead in there. I don't know, somebody dead in there. It's crazy. And then that's be it. Then y'all just have a party, play my 5 songs that I won't play, and then let's go, I don't know, do something else. That's all I'm saying. I just don't need the extra stuff. That's all I'm saying. It's like, funerals are so much money, and it's a waste of money. So even if I had life insurance, take that money and do something else with it. Like, don't spend $3,000. I don't know how much funerals cost, but it's too much money to be doing it though. And if you said pigs, I got that part, but I don't know. I don't think I dissected anything at heights, and especially not on pigs. These full pigs, like grown pigs, or the baby pigs, and like they give you like a half a pig, and you got to share with somebody else. Like, where the hell is it getting pigs from like that? That don't make no sense to me. I know heights, and I don't understand this pig situation. Is all I'm saying. Andrew said, I thought it was cool. No.
Hold on. Who was cutting up pigs? Somebody was cutting up pigs.
Ebony J said she was cutting up pigs, man, at heights.
Damn, they got money.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I need the backstory. These whole pigs, are these baby pigs? Each group get a half a pig, or was it 1 pig per class? Like, what was the dynamics? I need to know. Andrew said, hey, this is episode 80. I'm imagining where you guys would be at 160. You have grown a bunch. The family's growing. Can't say though. It's very nice words. Um, we family is growing, man. It's the best part. Like, can you imagine when we get to the point where we can do like 2 shows a month? 2 shows a month. We can just produce everybody else's stuff.
Hey, that's the dream. Then no, but what if we get to no shows?
I want to. I still got shit to talk about. I got, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not today because none of my stuff is working. Apparently, I think my computer is just out of memory, and I just can't move. I can't move anything. But so today, usually I'll be having stuff to say. I'll be having politics stuff to talk about. Me and you talked the other day about tons of like Malcolm X type stuff, and I got shit to talk about. So I need a show. I need a show. I just don't need it to be all the time.
Yeah. Every once in a while we can do a show, but to that point, we're just gonna have to keep grinding them out. Because we're gonna have to retire. Like we're gonna have too much work to do
behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 2 hours. So we might do, 2 price. It depends. I don't know.
I still need some kind of a show. The rest I can do.
Might have to get some for chess, every once in a while. Cause when we don't have a show next Sunday. So when we come back that following Sunday to do a show, it's gonna be it'd be so much stuff that be on my mind, and I just get the feeling like, man, I need to get on the show so I can speak my piece. But that's probably what it's gonna be like. You get the itching.
That's what I was about to say. So this is the weird part, Phil, to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit for you guys is when we do a show every week. And so look, all right, so we're doing it every week, and we're doing other stuff behind the scene with other shows and stuff. Like, man, we were doing 2 shows a week, like straight up, like 2 shows a week, just our content or whatever. It was a little bit different because of the stuff we was doing, and we ain't had to cram everything because we was playing music, so we can kind of, we can make the playlist a little bit longer, or you can find all type of ways to hide, but ain't no hiding here now. But anyway, what I'm saying is this: it's weird. So you can get burnt out, or you can be like, man, I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over, but that's what's going on in the world, so you kind of got to. But then, like, when you don't do a show though, then you get that itch. You're like, man, what? I got something to talk about. Like, it's always when you take a day off or a week off or whatever, is when like a whole bunch of stuff happens, and you're like, man, this has been a great time to have a show to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Every time it's like that. Every time.
What happened the time before we took some time off? I think it was the next week. Corona. That happened. They shut everything down. I swear we didn't have a show or something like that. I swear.
I don't remember. The only thing I do know is every time we plan a show in advance, something bad happens. Like every time we not even plan in advance. If me and you plan it, then it's like, all right, cool. But then we like announce like, oh, this Sunday we're gonna talk about this and send in your this and that and something bad happened every time, dude. 2019, every single time. Because we had Nipsey died the one time we tried to do it.
The day that we had, I remember we had the show. It happened during the show.
During the show, yeah.
After the show, yeah.
It was like another like mass shooting or something. We had like another show lined up. Every time, I swear, like every time something bad happens. So I don't want y'all to think that we're bad at doing promo. It's just like we kind of want the world to not be as crazy as it has been. I suppose is what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Angela said she see a huge merch store. She see a couple fundraiser, the ability to give back. She said it's probably like therapy when you had a show, for sure, no question. And Regina just joined us. What's going on, Regina?
What's up, Regina?
Thanks for joining us as always.
I guess you could say it's, well, nothing was really therapy per se, except the trauma show. Because then I don't like talking about anything that goes on in my personal life on the show. Literally nothing. But then on top of that, I'm not even the type of person that you can say that wants to go and speak to people about me, random people about myself, or even really have a conversation with random people. I really don't even be on it. But then I'm over here talking about, I scored a 7 on the trauma test, and it's a total possible 10 points, and I scored a 7.
So like, I mean, that trauma test thing, that shit was real, man. That shit was real. Angela said that's great though. So as a person, like I've never been to like counseling in any form or any type of therapist, any of that stuff. So like, no homo, but the relief that you get from going to like talk to somebody like a therapist or something, like compare that to like the relief you get from like having a show or sharing something like that on the show. I can't believe I should have said the more politically correct version. All right, wait. Oh,
Hey, it happens. Hey, but it's very similar because it's very similar, but except you're not talking to trained professionals. Except like one person, that's in the comments. Shout out to Ebony. Check out her show. During the course of Ebony J was on earlier. Go be sure to check that out. It'll be on our page, pinned to the top. As soon as I get done handling our business. Well, as soon as we get done handling our business, but but you should go to a therapist. Jay-Z went to a therapist after like 50 years.
Look, I'm not against it. I'm just so I don't mind talking about my personal life for the most part. Like, so I'm the type of person that I'm a bank vault, right? As far as getting personal information about me out, right? I don't care who you is. Like, I don't really share stuff about myself. So if you're gonna be like, but I'm also honest, right? So if you ask me a question, like I'm gonna give you the honest answer. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna give you whatever it is that I can give you. But I'm not just about to volunteer that information to you. So I don't clearly if I find the right therapist or whatever that's going to ask questions or ask the right questions, then cool. But I feel like the chances of that are maybe 70-30, where you actually got somebody, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, and this is not even from watching TV, because y'all know I don't really watch TV like that, but I just feel like they're more like reactive in the beginning. Like, oh, so tell me, why do you think you're here? Tell me this. No. Like, you ask the questions, and I'll respond and answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? So, finding the right therapist or whatever. Like, I'm not against going. It's not like I don't believe. My sister do it for a living, so it's not like I don't believe that it works. It's just finding the right one for me would just be the key. Is what I'm saying.
Hey, and that's finding the right one for you is most definitely crucial, because y'all personalities gotta mesh where you say something and they understand, where you coming from. Because they don't. You be like, this motherfucker don't even understand what the fuck. Why am I trying to talk to this motherfucker? But hey, all I'm gonna say is Hov, even with the therapy.
Even if y'all go watch that his 444 series, you know what I'm saying, talking about different subjects with black men. There might be some white guys on there too, but just talking like
especially black men, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so kind of how Ebony J was talking about on her show earlier today, about the black community and the stigma with therapy and going to seek help for mental issues and stuff like that. Like it's that way already for men, and I think it's like a double thing for like black men or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where I think it comes down more to, like you said, of who your personality fits with. Somebody that kind of understands. Not saying you got to have the same background, but somebody just kind of understand. Like, all right, like black people hold a lot of trauma, or black males or males, whatever, hold a bunch of trauma that they don't release because of the environment they grew up. Like whatever, like just somebody that understands your background or whatever is what I'm saying. Like it's crucial. It's crucial for a lot of stuff, not just like therapy and stuff. Like sometimes even having a regular conversation comes down to with a stranger comes down to having some kind of a similar background. You know, y'all just having both be from Cleveland, y'all can talk about the Browns. Like it's easier to have a conversation because y'all got a similar background. You know.
Well, I say I can agree with you with that, but at the same time, somebody who doesn't have the same background as you probably will want to be more engaged and more intrigued in what you got to say because they, don't come from that or they don't experience or they didn't experience whatever you've been through. So it's like, wow, this is interesting. They really into it, like asking the right questions, and they just really into it. Because
so that's good. So not to cut you off. That's good for an interview. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want my therapist learning on the job. Like don't use me as a tool to learn. Like nigga, like you're you know what I'm saying? Like and not saying that you don't pick up stuff from interacting, but don't learn. Look, if you dealing with a realtor and this is their first house, I get it, and you got to start somewhere. Everybody got to sell their first house, but don't do it with me. You got to find somebody else to be your first sale, right? Because I need somebody with experience.
No, but I'm not saying that the person isn't experienced. They can be very highly qualified. 20 years in the business. What I'm saying is, they love what they do. And not everybody's story is different. Like, let's say, I know we talked about this before, but let's say, somebody come in that's like really, like, that really has, because they do it all the time. Let's say somebody who has a mental illness, I don't want to pick on anyone, but it's like a real mental illness, and they're like casebook for something, right? But you walk in, and you have regular PTSD and this and that, but it's more so okay. You have this, but it's really your story. You know what I'm saying? Because they hear the same. You might be this same person that talking to a wall or something compared to you who is not like that, but your story is like, wow, the story is whatever it is. And nigga, I don't know. I'm just talking about nigga, I don't know. Like I'm beating around the bush. Let's just talk about, I don't even talk about myself. Shit. So yeah. Nigga, I was in there talking about something, and I was like, nigga, are you even, well, I didn't say nigga, but I said, are you even interested in like what I'm like, I don't even, like, I wouldn't even be interested. This is like normal daily shit that we're talking about. It's not even anything relevant. And she was like,
you can't say nigga in therapy. You can't say nigga in therapy.
No, you can, but I'm not gonna call her nigga because it would have been weird. She was like, I don't know, she's probably like 40 or 50s, and she's white. It would have been awkward, But she was like, no, I don't. She was like, I don't think it's boring. Like you talking about what you talking about, just daily shit is like interesting. But she was easy to talk to, but not at first. I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't trying to talk to you. Fuck this. So, but then after a while, she was cool. But like, nigga.
Let me,
That shit, like, it ain't, you know, it ain't about, I ain't about to volunteer and go back to that shit. Like,
so let me catch up with the comments, man, because I'm way behind. Sorry. Andrew said, Byron, she said, Byron, that's good. She said, you might have helped somebody similar to you, especially a man, because it seemed harder for men. Ebony J said, but it's therapeutic to get things off your chest. I completely agree. Angel said, nothing beats being your authentic self and being able to not filter and share. And Regina said, word, it makes you feel free. Angel said, imagine this show idea. She said, a reality therapy session weekly for a couple of months. Ebony would be cool to watch along if you could find someone willing. You'll be interested in doing the therapy?
No, I'm just telling you now, no. Because she's gonna be asking me them questions and I'm be like, the session is over. The session is over. Like, I'm cold.
It'll be both of us. We could do it from here. You could be comfortable in your office. I could be comfortable in my office. And she could be in she or he could be in their office. And you wouldn't do that. That's how money. It's not money.
Hey, no, I'm saying, what if you drop a tear live on air? Like, Epiphany Media is done. It's over when you drop a tear on air. Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm concerned about. Then people, like we talked about earlier in the show, you got these random people that be watching, that be tuning in, and we don't know, and they watching. So you just be having a conversation one day. It was like, yeah, so I seen you was crying the other day, like nigga, where did you watch that shit? Man, all I know is our top fans in there comment. I know they seen it, but I ain't know you saw it. Damn. I don't got time. Like, you can't just be walking around the streets of Cleveland, motherfuckers is like, yeah, I know you from somewhere. You be like, oh, you crying.
Oh, you was crying so loud, man.
Nah, I can't.
All right, let me see. Ebony said, she said the radio dude did that. I'm not sure I would do that because of authentic. That is so funny, man. She said she wouldn't do that because of confidentiality and authentication, etc.
Oh, authentication, confidentiality.
Andrew said it might be helpful to find a black male therapist. Would you do it?
Never seen one.
That's bad in itself.
I mean, no, I need a woman though. Shit, I like to talk to a woman better. But,
hey, I said that too.
That's in life general. Like, I don't really be trying to talk to no niggas like all in nigga faces or random nigga talking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
about anything. Like, sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying it's cool, but like, you could be the best male singer on the planet, but like, when dudes sing, I just like you sitting there hitting the high notes, like, that's weird to me, man. Weird. I don't like it.
Hey, women are better singers naturally. Period.
I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying what's real to me.
I think it's more niggas who like. It's more men and women who like Beyonce than men and women who like Jodeci or something.
I agree. I could agree with that. I could agree with that for sure.
Or we could say Luther Vandross. Let's say like a big singer like Luther Vandross. I guarantee, like, okay, these niggas that like some Luther songs, like, you know, the nigga can sing, but you know.
it's you're right though. Like, you look at, like,
you know what I'm saying, but nigga ain't gonna want to listen to Dance with My Father again, like. and be cool, you know what I'm saying, like, be cool with it.
So you said more people know Whitney Houston than the Luther Vandross song, like Whitney.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I can agree with that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying it's right, but I agree with you. And not nothing like professional or whatever. Like, sometimes we do it just be talking. I was like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I don't want to hear this from you, man. I ain't saying it's right at all. I'm just saying what I feel sometimes. Andrew said, might be lighthearted one to teach people who don't go to therapy what it's like, and maybe they will learn from just watching. Just put up a disclaimer. Maybe. We're gonna put out like these tears are not real, like these are fake tears. Any tears you've seen, any tears you've seen have been simulated for entertainment purposes.
You better be one hell of an actor.
That's so funny. Andrew said, imagine the first time you do a surgery as a surgeon. I remember I was scared when I drove my car alone for the first time. Look, I get it. I get it, but I don't learn on the job with me. Like if this is your first surgery, you tell me afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm like, I need somebody else, big dog. I need somebody else.
Like that's trusting. That's like trusting a nigga who ain't never cut your hair before. Like he in barber school. He need somebody to test on.
Somebody cracking him. Yeah, like he know what he
know.
He trained. He been he got his barber college certificate and all that stuff. And you his first cut when he get into the shop though. And you like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real though.
Because look, you gotta pay for it. You gotta pay for your fucked up cut.
And if
we'll be fighting in there like like Iconic Styles. You seen that video?
Crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, Let's see. Regina said, I can be more myself and open here than I can other places. I guess I filter myself elsewhere. And she put the thumbs down. That is a bad job. Like, cause I don't know, man. This is another reason why I don't think counseling would be super great for me because not because I filter myself, but I just like I'm like I can't say this for a fact, but I feel like I'm more myself everywhere than most people are. You know what I'm saying? Like how I feel about something or how I react or whatever. I feel like I'm more that way wherever I am. Like I'm more consistent, like across the board, no matter where I'm at, than most people are. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm sure some stuff locked up, I don't remember what my score was on the trauma test, but I'm sure you know what I'm saying some stuff in there. But I don't know the consent. Like I'm okay with it because I feel like I'm super consistent, which means a lot to me. If that makes sense.
I say don't knock it till you try it, though.
I'm not against it. We just gotta find somebody that can ask the right questions.
Because look, I mean, you should just try. You should just try. I mean,
So you saying you wouldn't do it, but you telling me to do it on air? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not saying on air. I'm just saying you should do it. You should just do it. Period.
Well, it costs money.
Not on air.
It costs money, so I do it on air if it's free.
Well, I don't know what type of insurance you got, but I mean, some insurance, if you got that Obamacare or some shit, you can get in there for free.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look, man.
I would say, do it once. No, I was just gonna say, do it once. Well, you don't actually got to do probably like 2-3 sessions.
I would think at least 2 sessions. Cause the introduction, I don't know how much will get done because the introduction or whatever.
Yeah.
But, let me see. Andrew said it's like a family or support group. Regina said, yes, where I actually filter myself for real to avoid problems with family and friends. Well, first off, Regina, I'll take that as a compliment for us. I'm glad that you were able to be yourself around us and just have fun and make jokes and talk about serious stuff. And it's a pretty good group as far as being judgy and supportive for one another. Like in all honesty, I'm in a gang. Excuse me, I'm in a gang of groups on Facebook and social media and all that stuff. But like our community of people, whatever. We got a pretty solid group, man. I ain't even lying. Like so, I'll definitely take it as a compliment. Like hopefully we can continue to promote like a healthy environment, like or just a non-toxic. Like sometimes, like this might not even be a healthy environment, but if it's a non-toxic environment on the internet, you know how rare that is. Like just where it ain't people just name calling or being judgy, like just
Right.
that
Right.
alone, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I definitely take that as a compliment for sure.
We probably just let people in our world. You know, you're
It
free to say whatever you're free to say whatever you want to, but you can't be disrespectful. I mean, not that people have been disrespectful ever on the Facebook, but I mean, it's just because we don't be on we don't be on no bullshit. But
this
yeah,
was
it's
a
good
good
that you
break.
can be yourself on here and be fake around some other people. But look, you know what? What's funny to me? You see me all talking and stuff like this. This is how me and you talk all the time, right? But then somebody has seen me off of here, try to talk to me and won't be the same thing though. So I understand, where she coming from because people who like know me, people that I fuck with, this is how I talk at all times, but nigga, not really though. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah, right, and that's what I'm saying. So even though I remember like you put up the Dame Dash and Jay Z picture or whatever, and like I don't know who you said was who. Did you say you was Dame Dash and I was Hov?
yeah.
I think that what you said. Like which is cool, like because I'm just I don't know, man. Cause I can talk about well, you tell me this. You tell me why you chose those people for us as representation, and then explain it for people who might not know the dynamic between Hove and Dame.
Okay, so you have Jay Z. Everybody knows Jay Z, Sean Carter. Like he's synonymous in um, culture. You know, everybody knows who he is. But then it was um, it was Dame Dash, Jay Z, and what's that dude? Other dude name? Fuck, I feel stupid.
Rapper?
Uh,
Come on,
no. I'm talking. Uh, fuck. Well, it was three people who were the owners of Rockefeller.
what's that?
Um,
What you call the nigga? Not Big O. What's that nigga name? Um,
like I'm tripping right now. That's crazy.
not Jazz.
That's how.
What's that nigga name?
No, that's why we need to. That's
The
why we need to.
intern.
Get us these facts. Sometimes we forget. And I don't got my. I turned my computer off on the side, so I can't even look it up right quick. But anyways, it's irrelevant to the story. But anyways, these three people own Rockefeller, but Jay Z and Dame Dash were like the face of the corporation. So at first Jay Z was just the rapper, but he would just be quiet in the in the background. Um, but Dame Dash is outspoken. He says what's on his mind. Uh, he's he's not with everybody own him. If you want to partner, have a partnership, that's cool. Whatever. Uh, the reason why I said that you're Jay Z is because you're more. I don't want to say more, but like your focus is like more business oriented. Um, just about everything.
Oh, that is his
Uh,
name. His name is Biggs. Kareem Burke. Biggs.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So, um, yeah, that's why I said, for you and nigga, I said I'm Dame Dash, not because I look like him when I have a fresh bald head and the and the goatee. People actually tell me that shit. I was like, well, I don't get it, but all right.
I see you.
But huh?
I see you in October as Dame.
That'll be an easy costume. And get the bucket hat, and it'll be good. Uh, The reason why I picked, I said I was dang because that nigga is not like he says whatever he wants to. Now, if you're the type of person who says, says whatever you want to, you're not going to be like because you're saying if you're saying the truth about something, I mean, people are not going to like you for that. So that's why I picked it. Picked it. I could have easily said Jay-Z too at the same time, but
yeah, I seen it, and you know what I'm saying. I felt like at first I'm like, nah, I don't like to be in front of the camera like that. But when I seen it recently, and I seen like the picture that you had selected, like that wasn't like smiling, joking Jay-Z. Like that was like Black Album. I'm about to be running the Def Jam all business Jay-Z, and I was cool with that. You know what I'm saying, for sure. No question about that. I don't know. I don't know. It's a side part, but
hey, I could easily be Jay-Z because I mean he don't like to be in front of the camera like that at all. He got way better. Yeah, he got way better at it. But even if you watch the interviews, he just looked like awkward when he doing an interview. What's coming out of his mouth is fire. Like it's just gems on top of gems, but he just looked awkward on camera. So I said. Yeah, so I say I could be both of them niggas combined.
Let me see. All right, so Ebony J said I have plenty of people who say they start off not liking me or feeling me, but then they get comfortable. So yeah, I think it might take a couple sessions, but I'm down. Angel said, "You cry, we will be here for you guys." Regina was laughing. Ebony J said, "I'm pretty good at asking loaded questions, where it's one question, but I get several answers. You better bring your A game. You know me probably better than anybody in here, and I don't give up information."
See, I can't have a session done by Ebony because it's like I gotta see you. I gotta see you at work. I might see you at a cookout or something like.
Yeah, like you gotta like you gotta have a session and she make you cry, and you gotta go like. The stupid lights are out. I gotta say something like the recording was dumb. You got feedback on the recording. You just say a meme because it made you cry. You know what I'm saying?
Like she be like, we at a cookout. She's like, yeah, get you a napkin. And then you just have a flashback of you handing you the fucking tissue and shit. Can't. Nah.
That's hilarious, man. Oh, you said, here, man, take this paper towel. And you got like PS.
People like, I gotta go home.
Out of here. Flashback. You in the office, you had your box of tissue. Oh man, that is fucking hilarious, man. That is hilarious. Oh man.
Hey, you be at the cookout, Jay-Z playing in the background, and she asks, "Can I? You need a napkin?" Like, hell no.
Oh man. Just had like before, like she don't even ask you nothing, she just hand it to you, like you just hear. Like then it become like a movie. Like you ain't looking through your perspective. Like the camera zoom out. You hear the baby playing loud in the background. She had you a roll of paper towels. It's so funny. I don't know why it's so fucking. That's so hilarious, man. Ebony J said she had a black male therapist on the show. That's true. I think dude was from out of town, if I'm not mistaken, too.
And they gotta be rare, man. I don't.
They is rare. I'm pretty sure they're rare. But if you guys are interested in it, I'll at least find out, and maybe we can. I don't know about having a session on air, but we can have a conversation with it because I think our questions, and I'm gonna say this, and I mean it in, for lack of a better term, but our like real nigga questions, opposed to like clinical questions coming from Ebony, you know what I'm saying, would give like a different perspective. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when people go on Ebony's show, which is one of the reasons why I love Ebony's show, is because she don't do a lot of, she might not do no cussing, if I don't think. And it's real highbrow, which is not a bad thing, but it's just a contrast to our show where I'm not saying ours is lowbrow, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying, it ain't clinical.
Hey,
It ain't
yeah,
clinical.
yeah, her show different, which is a great thing. It's totally different from ours. Hers is like you got the per interview, you got the new guest on every show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
she
it'd be
talking about real clinical issues and
yeah.
different stuff like
Like
that. But
real stuff that might help somebody for real. Like or at least have somebody like, all right, so I'm not abnormal. I can reach out to some there are people out there. I can contact her or contact her guest or something and say, hey, I do need some help with something. Like, we don't really offer that. Like we just kind of get on here and slightly offend people, but people know that we're good people, so they don't really get offended. I remember we said something. You said something one time, and Erica was like, "Oh no, that was Ashley." Ashley was like, "So why y'all commenting on it then?" Like, hey, we entitled to our opinion. Like, we can talk about what we do. Like, there's nothing wrong.
yeah, I mean, this ain't this ain't no debate. We're just talking.
So let me see. So Angel said,
Whether
you
you
can,
like it or not.
hold on. Angel said you can come with me to therapy. I think what she's talking about, and I don't want to do that.
Damn, that's couples therapy.
I don't want to do that.
That's a trap.
Yeah, I don't. But Angel said Byron's right. You definitely got to go a couple times. Emily say EAP. I don't know what that is, but it gives you sessions for free. I don't know what that is, but I'll find out. Uh, Emily J said, she said, good job, Byron. Everyone should go. We all got stuff to work through. You have to go several times. The first one to three times, that's asking you a lot of questions to form your treatment plan, what y'all will focus on. Then it takes time to build a report. You can't always just dive in. Sometimes you have to pull back layers. Nigga, well, get your crowbar because I got it. You look for layers. You look at. Point me out to the state or the nation's top therapist, mental health specialist, and tell them to bring a crowbar. Yeah, he gonna be going home. He or she gonna be going home like talking to his wife like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. Let me see. MJ said, the captain said suck instead of the F word that Byron said. Oh, Facebook do like the automated captions.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you turn that off or whatever, but the what you call them don't want to don't want to cuss like we do. I want to do it say niggas. Maybe just say nigga a bunch of times and see if it say nigga. I'm just curious. Everything said, she said Dame Dash comes off as a dirt. He is. He is to an extent, and I don't know if he is to an extent though.
See, but I mean that was his downfall because he ruined all professional relationships. Nobody wanted to
Exactly.
work with him.
Exactly.
You know. I don't say I go that far.
Yeah, because I damn sure be there like to mend that bridge. Everybody said that's important though, Byron. Y'all should bring me on for 2 seconds so I can talk about that. I didn't see it, so now we're way behind the comments. But talk about what, and then just put it in the comments, and then I'll send you the link if you want to come on still. Angel said, hearing men talk about their struggles will be interesting for me. Definitely check into it. Okay, I will. I'll write it down in my Blues Clues book. It goes green. All right, so I'm gonna put male therapist, then therapist, and then in quotes I'm gonna put black. Where it don't have to be a black guy, but it probably would help. You think if we got like a white? You think we got a white male therapist? He'd be like offended because we just keep calling him nigga or something. Or not even like on purpose, but just like you think he'll feel uncomfortable? Do we have to?
I mean, you paying for it. What they gonna say? You can't say
nigga. Okay, like
in my office with the couch. I don't know what you call it.
We'll say it so much to the point where like he'll need therapy. Like Like then he'll be traumatized. Like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I just froze and sat there.
I'm gonna say this: if you young, 18, you're trying to figure out what you want to do in life, and you a young black male, go get your degree and be a psychologist or something.
Hey, because it's definitely a need. If you want a job that's gonna be in demand, that's it for sure.
Hey,
But
I went to I had to get a checkup or something because I don't have a primary doctor. Like I still ain't choose one yet. But anyways, this lady she was black, and she was like, who your primary doctor? And I was like, yeah, I don't got one. She was like, see, that's the problem with she's like, see, that's the problem with y'all black men. Like y'all scared to go to the doctor. Get you I got two tasks for you. Do this and then go get you a primary care doctor.
See, I
want you to be my doctor, but you're like, you got a million patients. I can't even get in.
So I get that, and I get what she's saying, but I feel like just like the mental health part of it, like it ain't a thing for like black males to go to the doctor. And I think that go male across the board, and then maybe it's double for black males, maybe. Like, but I think like guys just don't go to the doctor. And I ain't saying that it's cool or nothing like that, but I think it just is what it is.
But why is that though? Like, I don't understand. Like, why? It's like why? Like, you just won't go because you don't want to hear the bad news. Like as us as black men, like we got to be tough at all times. Like, we can't. Like, we can't even laugh. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you can't smile on pictures. Like I swear, man. Like, look, all right, black women got it tough. Like women got it tough. Black women got it tough. I think I seen a thing on Twitter like in order of like toughest to not toughest or whatever. And it was like white males clearly got it. I don't think nobody can disagree that white males clearly have life the easiest. Like in general, I'm not talking about nobody specific, but clearly, in general, white males have it the easiest of everybody. Then I think they said it was. I actually think they said it was like black males and then white females and of course black females. Like it's tough, man. It's tough as it is, and maybe I'm just biased or whatever, but it's tough being a black dude, man. And that's not even including like the police, all the extra police shit and all that stuff, but just like the amount of pressure, the fact that we are expected to be this, and this, and the stigma that you fight against every single day, whether it's like all black guys are criminals or all black guys are deadbeat dads, even if you don't got kids. Like what I'm saying, like you just fighting nigga every single day. And it is draining mentally and physically sometimes.
Hey, but fighting against stigmas and shit that ain't even true.
It ain't even true, yeah. Like you fighting against ghosts, like you know what I'm saying? You fighting against theories. You know what I'm saying? You fighting against made up shit and so I don't know. As tough as it is for black women, I believe, as tough as it is for women in general, it's tough, man.
Hey. I ain't even a thief, but just being a black man and going into a store, you could afford some of this shit, like if you want to, but you still black, so you like this shit too high, I ain't about to buy that. But you just feel like I don't know, people just looking at you like you gonna steal some shit. I don't
know about you, man, but when something like that happened, like it made me want to steal shit. Like I could have a pocket full of money, but I'm like, man, I'll take the shit if I want to. Like, this how you feel about me? I should just do it and then just look at you and dare you to say something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I be saying all the time, man. I wish black people was as violent as white people think. I wish men was as ruthless as women think sometimes, or whatever. Like sometimes, like just to prove a point, like man, we be out here walking on eggshells sometimes to not ruffle no feathers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me see. So Every J said
Hey.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, we got some comments. Go ahead.
All right. So Ebony J said that guy, the male therapist, is from Akron, and they are coming up. Okay. Regina said to Ebony that Regina said I would make Ebony want to retire. Ebony said I would get my money's worth for sure from your comments. That is definitely true. Ebony said, it put instead of cussing, it put question marks instead of saying the N word. It put question marks. It's funny. She said male therapists and EAP and picnics. I guess that's what she's talking about is coming up. I don't know what EAP is still, but let me know. Angel said, in the times of the world now, it might be even more interesting. Yeah, I can see that for sure. And Regina said to Ebony, I'm my own walking reality show. Now I'm interested. Ebony said, no, you have to have a passion for it. It's an easier degree to get back. If you don't have the passion, you can hurt people. I agree with that. I agree that you want to have, I don't know. I think it should be looked into. It's kind of like being a police officer. Like we say, one of the things that will help alleviate some of the pressure is that you actually get Black police officers or police officers from the neighborhood that actually want to make a difference. But they can get in there and hurt somebody, just like the George Floyd, the Black dude on there. He had been on the force for 3 days, and they said that he joined the force because his brother got like accosted by police before, and he joined to make a difference. And then this nigga just sat on somebody's leg while he choked the nigga out. Anyway, that's a long story. But anyway, so yeah, I feel for a lot of stuff. Like you can't hurt people, just like that clown that joined the force because of what police did to his brother. Then he did it to somebody else. What a fucking idiot. So it's another story or whatever. But yeah, no, you're right about that. But I feel like it's something that should be at least looked into, because if you do want to help people, but you don't know how, that might could be something that might help a community like as a whole. I feel personally. Let me see. Angel said, Regina, you may need your own podcast to talk. Come on over to the family, Regina. Come on and join. Get underneath this umbrella.
Yeah, we need that presence down Southern Ohio or Middle Ohio.
Let's see. Ebony said, she said, let's do it. Sound like we'll get paid. Hire a camera crew to follow him around. And then every time Regina comes to the office for a session, it'd be like a crossover between during the course and during the course, not only the podcast but the nonprofit, the charity. That'll be interesting. Regina said to Angel, she said, "Yeah, I always thought I could write a book, crazy stuff for real. Yeah, people want to know, man. People want to know what makes you who you are. Everybody's life experience is different. You know, don't downplay it. Like let us know who you are." Angel said, "When you're ready to be vulnerable, let me know. I'm always scouting talent." Yeah, Angel's the manager out there, so y'all get with her if you don't get with us for sure. Ebony said, "You fighting against a false narrative." Like that's the way I put it. Jay-Z said this even before. So we were talking about Jay-Z. Even before, like he dropped the 444 conversations or whatever, he was like, man, how am I supposed to win when you got me fighting against Ghost? You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally, like you fighting against Ghost, man. I don't even know how to put it. Like, you fighting against stuff that's not there, like stuff that's not true, stuff that's made up, stuff that's from the Jim Crow era, stuff that's from the crack epidemic in the 80s. Like, you could be the perfect dad, but as soon as somebody see you, you're like, nigga, he no way this dude, you know, he catching a bus to work because it's better for the environment. But they're like, man, look at this dude. He broke. He probably paid child. He probably don't pay his child insurance. What is this shit called? Child support. I don't got no kids. My bad. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. So Ebony J wanted to join us, so I'm gonna send her an invitation. She also said, Natasha. I want to say it's Latasha. I hope I'm not pronouncing your name wrong. She said thanks for joining, and I also want to thank you for joining.
Letitia.
I thought it was Letitia too, but I felt like my first. option was going to be wrong, so I went with Latasha.
Okay, Latasha was more common, so I'll give you that.
I promise I'm not an idiot. Like I
Tisha.
seen it, I thought it was Latisha,
Tisha.
and I'm like, that's probably wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
All right, bring
All right, so,
bring Ebony in. I gotta get some water. I'm thirsty.
all right, go ahead. Let me bring Ebony J up. So while he's going to get some water, I just want to remind you guys, it's been a while. It's our ever prayer. It's our ever apparent sponsor. It's 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 Top Fan Regina's favorite brand, and you don't disappoint, man. Look, this is even. Ebony J, don't tell us we're wrong because it's just our opinion, so we can't be wrong. This is your ad here, though. This show is brought to you by your ad here. This is another special batch, man. Look, this is how dope they are. So not only are they our longest running sponsor, they send us special batches all the time. This was a special batch that they sent me out for my birthday last Saturday. So I appreciate them as always. I don't know, man. When you got somebody that sponsors you for damn near a year, like, you know, through quarantine, through it all, like they actually get in there and support us through it all. Old reliable, whatever you want to call it. Your ad here is amazing stuff. And I can't thank them enough. So thank you to them. And if you are actually interested in getting your ad here, send us a message, and I'm sure we can definitely make that happen for you. So special shout out to your ad here. I keep my Epiphany Media cup filled up. Your ad here. It's amazing. So Ebony J said, did I send it through Facebook? I did. I just sent it. So be sure to click on the phone. Ebony J said we're wrong about something. So I feel like she's about to school us. But I think I would stick to my guns as far as I feel like I feel like you don't necessarily like, because sometimes you don't know. Like, so if you look into something like therapy or something, even if you might not have a passion for that specifically, but if you have a passion for helping people, but you don't know how or what's the best way, or what's the most effective way, I think having Black therapists is the way to go for sure. She said she wants to talk about 3 things. So I don't know if that's necessarily one of the things. I'll find out here when she joins us in a moment. But I definitely want to. But I definitely think that I'm gonna stick to those guns as far as that though. So I'm gonna pull Byron out, and I'm gonna pull up award-winning podcast number making Ebony J from the Epiphany Media family. And during the course of Ebony J, you can see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And without further ado.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me. So it's Latisha. She went to Roxborough with me, so that's how I know.
Hey, shout out to Roxborough.
Right. So I didn't hear the last part that you said because I was logging in. So I don't know if you want to repeat that and we start there or what.
So I was just saying. So I'll say I don't know what 3 things that you wanted to touch on. I said, but I think I'm gonna stick with my guns as far as even if that's something that people are not necessarily passionate about, like therapy or being a therapist or a social worker. But if you got a passion for helping people, but not knowing the best way to go about it, or not knowing the most effective way, I feel like that's something that should be looked into. That's something that everybody should just do it just because, but it is a way. It's a gap that's missing, like a Black male perspective therapist. The pool for Black male therapists is pretty shallow, is what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. So that wasn't one of the three things, but that yeah, I agree 100%. That's a you are exactly right. But I still have to, like this is one of the things that's my thing, you know what I'm saying? And so I have to protect it. And there are a lot of people who are in this field who just do it because it's an easier degree to get. So sometimes you only have to take let's say 10 classes versus 15 classes for what they started off. So then they'll figure out that they off track or it's gonna take them longer, whatever the case is. But if I go ahead and just to hurry up and graduate, if I go ahead and get this in a social service field, then that will allow me to, especially when the degree is social work, then that will allow me to hurry up and get finish with school and hurry up and start working, which whatever. But when it's something like this, but then so the problem with that is then you get into the field and then you're not making money or whatever the case is, um because it wasn't a passion of yours, and then you start, like I said, either hurting people because you're not fully servicing them properly. And so then, like you said, like we were talking about earlier, if I come to you and you mess up, a lot of times people will not go to therapy anymore because of that bad experience. So I just have to, protect it to let people know that, or they'll start, people get burnt out real easy in this field. And a lot of times it's because they don't have a passion or they're not taking care of themselves. So, that's another thing for that I want to say about that. And then people will start bashing the field itself, like, oh, you can't make more money. And I'm here to tell you, and not even to brag, I could show receipts, as they say. I make over 6 figures doing this. Like, just to be honest. So it's money in it, but you got to do it. It doesn't look like a traditional situation. Now we make it over, 6 figures. I work a lot. You know what I'm saying? Really, to be honest, 7 days a week, for the most part. So it don't come without a price, but it's possible. Is my whole point. Now, the 3 things that I wanted to talk about really quickly is EAP is Employee Assistance Program. So a lot of employers are required to offer that to employees because the bottom line to it is if you're not, like we talked about earlier, if you're not fully well, if you're not fully whole, if you're not fully able to function, then you can't do your job. And so they're I can't say everybody, but I know that a lot of people are required to do that. It's just like if you are an alcoholic or something like that. In some cases, depending on the job, they can't fire you. They have to provide you with services. They have to
Yeah,
provide
you gotta admit that you have a problem. I think that's the only one I do know about for sure. Is that you have certain protections if you admit that you have a problem. But the problem come in for some people is that the admission part.
right. But that's what EAPs is, Employee Assistance Program. So you're supposed to be able to go to them and let them know that you are struggling. And it's a lot of capacities, like you said. It could be, drug and alcohol, it could be mental health, it can be financial, it could be all type of things. And they are supposed, and your job is covered under that. But like I said, it also provides, I think it's like around like 5 sessions. So that's just, something you can look into. Or anybody can look into to see if your job offer it, because therapy can be, expensive. Like I said, to make what I make, I'm looking at $150 an hour. Now me personally, I do have a sliding scale fee scale, so depending on your income, it could be less, but at the end of the day, it could be very pricey, if that makes sense. So just look into EAP is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is what Byron said about like the thing about the cookouts. That's a really good point, because if you notice, every time on my show, I always tell people, like I always say, it depends on who you are that I can work with you, but and then I say if you're somebody that I can't work with you, is where I will get you to somebody. And that's for exactly for things like that. Now, sometimes it's unavoidable where, like, if you're in a rural area, sometimes the therapist might be somebody you went to high school with or whatever, because it's a smaller, you don't want to drive, an hour, 2 hours to go get somebody. And that might be the next place where you could get something. So sometimes you do have to go to somebody. But when we're in a situation like this, you are legally, you cannot do that. So I couldn't provide, clinical therapy where I could charge for it or whatever with like you, for example, Byron, because your family or because of how our relationships. Now I have had people who was closely interactive. I'm trying to, make sure I'm still sticking with confidentiality. And so we'll put it like this. I've had clients who I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. The whole thing is that what I let people, okay, this is the perfect example. When I first started, I worked at Ohio Guidestone and I lived in Euclid. And so a lot of my clients, they gave me work in Euclid. And they did that intentionally because they paid for mileage and different stuff like that. It was just easier for me to get to clients in a closer situation. Well, one time I had a client that went to my son's school. Now they wasn't in the same grade, but they were still in the same school. So I would go see this kid at school a lot of times. So I would see my client, let my client go back to class and then have lunch with my son. And so that just worked out for me. But when there are situations like that, what I do is I tell people, I have a disclaimer, a personal disclaimer where I let them know, oh, I live in Euclid also. My kids might go to the same school. I've seen clients at the library. I've seen clients in a grocery store. And I let them know that you never have to feel, so one way how I try to avoid people feeling that type of way is I won't speak to them. And I say, that's not me being, rude or anything. If you speak to me, I'll speak back. But for the most part, I won't speak to you because another thing that I've had, my kids know what I do. So sometimes if it's not somebody that they know, they automatically go to like, well, who is that, Ma? Is that one of your clients? And I'm like, it's none of your business. Or I'll say that's my friend. That's my friend or something like that. But I have to have those conversations up front when I find out that we may have some type of connection like that. So there are times where I am at the store because I deal with a lot of people and I don't necessarily, it could be a previous client or it's just natural to speak to people when so then I had to start changing that up to where I will speak to you, but I won't have conversations with you on any other level except for, hey, you know what I'm saying? And so, it kind of just depends. If I think about it, like that's one of my clients. If it's somebody I'm super familiar with, then of course that's my client. And so I won't speak to them, but sometimes it does slip my mind. But I had those conversations so that people are uncomfortable because it is very uncomfortable to be like I said, how embarrassing is that if they would have heard my kids say like, Ma, is that one of your clients? And you never know who they're with. And they might not want people to know that they're in therapy. So there are some protections that you have that should be set in place, as much as we possibly can. We talked about on the show earlier, one of the offices that I worked in, they the way that the interest was, it was almost impossible there were plenty of times where clients crossed paths. But it was other things in that building, but we was the only Black business in that building. So naturally they're going to put two and two together that for the most part they was coming to see us. But so I had those conversations to say, if you do see somebody in here that please don't share that you saw them at the therapist, because you might be comfortable with saying you go to therapy, but they may not. So we do try to do a good job of keeping your situation confidential. So hopefully that will kind of give somebody a little bit of peace or whatever. And the last thing that I want to talk about is what you were talking about, Emmanuel, when you talked about different things like about them being or about basically you being tough, and them having to have a crowbar. So that's where a lot of challenges come in, because for me, just because of my personality, on top of just even, it spills over professionally, I ain't doing that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you come to me, you need to be ready to peel back some layers. You need to be like, we are taught and we are trained not to work harder than the client. So if you're not ready to come there and open up, and I'm not saying spill everything out the first time or whatever, like we're going to have to build relationships. You're going to have to know that you can trust me. You're going to have to know that I understand you and I'm not judging you and all of these type of things. But there are some clients that I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to work harder than you. So if you're coming there and you are, even if it's not intentional, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying if you are intentionally not trying to, if you're intentionally, not trying to open up to me, then it's only so much or so many times that I'm gonna see you before I'm saying. But I'm going to have that conversation with you and just let you know. Excuse me for a second, y'all. Sorry, y'all.
So
Jackie
I just
Clutch is
want to
gonna
say,
call everybody.
hi, Jackie.
My Uncle Byron, I didn't really remember you because I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I need to get out more.
So I just want to say that. So I just want to defend my position that, like I said, it's not me not being ready. I am. I don't know what that is. That feedback, but but just not when, not that I would be ready to open up or whatever, but it'll just be like, I'm not going to volunteer the information, but you ask your question, and I'll be 100% and open and honest with you, and I'll answer your questions like exactly what it is. But like, you know how you go into you go to an interview and they be like, so tell me about yourself, and I'll just be sitting there like, I'm 29 or I'm 30, and I'm just trying to find a company I can hang on, or whatever. Cause I don't know what to say because I'm not forthcoming with the information like that. But you ask me, tell me what makes you great, or tell me why you're good for this position, or whatever the case is. Then I can, then I open up. Then I'll be like, oh, I'm good for this because this is this and blah blah blah. Like, so it wouldn't be like necessarily me holding back. It would just be me. I just need somebody to ask the questions. I'm not even saying the right questions, but they can ask the questions, because I'm not just going to sit there and be like, blah, 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 and I got diarrhea in the mouth and I'm still going. Like, that's what would be me.
Yeah. So exactly, that's how it should be. It should be like that. That's why I have put in the comments like, I can ask you one question, but I could get a whole bunch of answers from that one question. So it does go to having a very good therapist, because there are some therapists who will do that, who will just expect you to come in and whatever. But the reality of it is like, again, like we talked about earlier, is that sometimes we are struggling with something and we don't have the words for it, or we don't know why we're struggling. And that's why you coming to me. Like, I would be the same way of you. I'm not coming, again, just like I said, I'm not going to work harder as the person, as the client. I'm not coming there and doing your job for you either. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely get that, but I just wanted to point that out, because there are some people who will come there and they expect for it to be a magic trick, or for us to fix you, and that's not our job. We are there to guide you and to help you in those and it is just like how y'all did the trauma thing. There are different tools that we use to be able to get a lot of information. There is a lot of, again, if you're trained correctly, or if you do the work correctly, which is important to me. And then also my experience, being in the military, I have some additional training. So I pay, it's like, when you talk about paying attention to details and different things like that, I pay attention to details well, and I pay attention to nonverbals. So it's not always about like, well, it'll be people like, well, I didn't say that. Sometimes you don't have to say that. If I ask you a question and you squirm in your chair, then I'm a pay attention to that. The first time I'm not gonna say anything about it, but if you do it, a second or a third time, then I'm gonna be like, well, hey, I notice every time we get around this certain area, you shift your body position. Is that making you uncomfortable? Yes. Why is that making you uncomfortable? Or what does that feel like to you? So there are questions that that should be asked to get the information that's needed. And a lot of times when I'm asking you those questions, as you saying that out of your mouth, it makes you more aware, or it makes you, be like, dang, that's really messed up. Like, I treated such and such like this. That was really messed up on my part. Or I didn't even recognize that this is what was going on. And now that I'm saying it, now I realized that was stupid for me to allow that, different things like that. Because a lot of times people will say too, like, yeah, I went to therapy and it didn't work. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, it's impossible for it to work. Because just like we were talking about on the show, there are times that you guys talk about topics. And like I said on the State of the Union show, you guys don't give yourself a lot of credit, or enough credit, because there are a lot of times that you bring up stuff, and even though it's your opinion, even though it doesn't have what you feel like is professional backing, or however you want to put it, it's still valid, because it's your opinion, and it also gives, you know, especially because your show is predominantly females, so it gives us perspective, a different perspective than what we're used to, that we might not get from our husbands or from our partners. Because, and then like Regina said, it's a place where you get to, you know, talk freely and different things like that, because there are sometimes that spouses won't have that conversation. But it's like, so now when y'all bring it up, then you can look at your spouse like, oh, so that's why he doing XYZ. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't give yourself enough credit, but I'ma always give it to y'all, because sometimes just having this space, or sometimes just having certain conversation, brings a different perspective, brings attention, brings awareness, and that is, you know, ultimately how therapy should look for people as well.
All right, so
wise words.
Yeah, go ahead, B. That's why I wanted to pull you in to see what you have to say.
So back to when you were talking about the therapist client privilege type thing. So in those cases, do you refer another therapist for somebody? You know, let's say your cousin wanted you to be their therapist, but since you can't do it, would you refer to somebody else? Because I remember being referred before, and I didn't like that person. You know.
So for me, yeah, I family is completely off limits. Friends are off limits, and close relation is off limits. And I've had a lot of family and friends come to me who wanted me because they like my style, they like my, you know, because how I am is exactly how I am in session for the most part. I wish it was, you know, somebody on here that can be like, you know, maybe I will have a past guest, a past client come on eventually. But I have to explain it all the time, because for one, it goes to exactly what you said. When you're going to therapy, you know, you should, in most cases, you're divulging a lot of intimate, personal, you know, private details of your life. And so if you only have to see me and here, you know, I'm going to be professional, and here I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. But then if you come and you kick it with me, and let's say I don't do this particularly, but let's just say I'm kicking and I'm drinking, you don't want to ever be afraid of what's going to come out of my mouth. Or if you are, let's say you talk to me, whether it's been couple counseling or because I do couple counseling as well, or if you just came and you talk to me about your wife, you don't know, like, people have a fear, like, am I going to treat their spouse a certain type of way because I have information that maybe nobody else knows? But like, let's say you told me that, you know, your spouse cheated, so now I'm going to be looking at your spouse like, oh, she nasty, or, you know, whatever the case is. So that's one reason why you can't do those things. And then there's a lot of times that I have to get up, you know, I have to hold my clients accountable. And sometimes when you try to hold your family members accountable, they don't receive it, or they don't they feel like you're judging them, or they feel like you this, they feel like you that. Versus when you come to me, you know, as a therapist, I'm going to explain that to you, like, listen, I'm going to call you out on some stuff if I have to, and, you know, different things like that, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to do it in the most professional way as possible, but I'm going to do it. And so clients are okay with that, because this is the relationship that we have. Versus if I'm, you know, if it's a personal relationship, it starts to look really differently. So that, you know, you can't do that. And then so I do refer out, and I try to match people with people who I think, you know, will fit, but it doesn't always fit. But that's why, if you notice, like when I'm talking about on my show and different things like that, I have a whole bunch of different type of therapists, and that's why I'm working on, and that's another reason why I'm showcasing them on and during the course with Ebony J, because I want people to be like, okay, well, I can't go to Ebony, but I like XYZ, you know, I like this person, I like how they feel, and so that, hopefully, my intention on that is that will give you somebody who you might feel like you know, you get a sense of them, because a lot of times you don't really get to interview. When you interview your therapist is when you're already in a session, and that's hard to do when you are in a crisis. You don't want to have to add something to it. So hopefully by me having, you know, I have a whole lineup, like y'all don't even know yet, like, you know, I have a whole lineup of therapists. It's just making our schedules work and different things like that. But hopefully at the end of, you know, at the end of my time here or whatever the case, I would have been able to showcase enough different type of therapists. You notice I've had one that talk about finances. I've had a white one. I've had a black male. Y'all know my girls that's part of the Full Up Therapists with me. Is a total of 4 of us that's all black, but we all bring a different type of flavor. So I'm going to have them on together. I'm going to have them on individually. You know, all of those type of things. I have another male therapist that I want to bring on. I'm going to have someone who is a therapist who is gay, or who is, yeah, I hope that's the proper word for it. I don't know, you gotta get politically correct with stuff, but which is important because
better set on our show than on your show.
But it's important because even if that's something that, if you are gay, or if you do struggle with that, or if you know you're not ready to come out, that's not an area that I can, you know, address comfortably, and not because I'm not comfortable with it, but that's not my thing. So I don't know how that feels to have somebody come out, you know, different things. So I'm going to look into having somebody come in there so that you can always, I mean, you know, so that you can have options, because it's important to feel comfortable with your therapist. Now, that doesn't mean that because the person has not experienced what you experience, they can't do a good job, because I don't want the misconception of people, if you can't find a black therapist, that you don't go to therapy. There are some very good white therapists that can also help you, because at the end of the day, the whole point is that you want help with your struggle. It don't really matter. You know, a struggle is a struggle. So
let me ask you this. So it's going to be kind of out of order, but this is geared towards Regina and her last couple of comments she put in. So she said, it's out of order, but I'm going to put it in order and phrase it into a question for you. So Regina said, let me put this one up first. She said, "Oh man, I wish I had you when I was 13 years old. My mom would have hated you. You could have put her in her place. She just took from me and my dad, so you couldn't have me." Man, if y'all new to the show or anything like that, definitely go back and watch that the trauma series, because you know, Regina shares some real personal stuff, and I'm forever grateful for her doing that. Then like I said, it's out of order, but she also said, Angel, it's a terrible feeling when you're opening up and they aren't paying attention to you. Speaking about therapists and counselors, they're just scribbling a few things. You ask a question, nothing. After that, you shut down. It's nice when you find a great therapist, and you know, I'm sure we all, that's kind of what we're talking about now. But the part that kind of got me is, she said, I can tell in the first few sentences if we click, or I'm sorry, if I click with a therapist or anyone. So my question to you, Ebony J, is, can you give us an example of your opening statement, your opening, like when you first get into session with a brand new client, somebody you never had before, and you know, you're first getting into the room and you say, you know, hi, I'm Ebony J, blah blah blah. Like, tell me and Regina your opening statement, I guess, for lack of a better term, your your thesis statement.
It depends on what I guess platform you're coming to me from. And the reason why I say that is because it looks different depending on where I come. If you come to me on my private practice, there is a intake. Well, there's always an intake form, and on the intake form, it should tell me a little bit about what you're coming here for. Or either when you call in, especially in private practice, you will be calling and saying, I'm looking for a therapist. These are some of the things that I experienced. So when I have that information, it looks a little bit different. Now, if it's one of my community platform, when I'm coming to you and we're just initially starting out, and I don't know anything about you, I'll ask you a series of questions or whatever to kind of get that same information. But I always start off with, like I told you, I'm always going to tell you that I'm going to be, upfront with you, and I'm going to hold you accountable for those type of things that I said already. But I'm going to tell you about the confidentiality. I'm going to tell you that there may be times that you're not going to like me, but that I'm going to push you. How I do it is I start off and I tell you, a little bit about my background. I tell you my full name, because a lot of people don't know I have a last name because I don't really use it. But I tell you, a little bit about me. I tell you a little bit like personal information. So I tell you that I have kids. I don't go into details like I have this many kids or whatever. I tell you that I'm married. I tell you where I got my education from, and I tell you about how long I've been doing it. For me, those things are important because if I'm coming to you, if you're bringing your child to me, or if you're coming because you have struggles with children, a lot of times people want to know that you have kids, because there's going to be a different expectation if you have kids. I'm going to expect you to kind of know what you're talking about to an extent because you have kids, versus if you don't have kids, and I might feel like you can't relate to me. I also tell people about the fact that I'm married, so that they can get a sense. That's my way of disclosing personal stuff without disclosing personal stuff, because I don't need to tell you my business, because that's not, what you're here for. But it does, so far for me, it does give people a sense of comfort to let them know that I have a real life outside of just this. So for me, that gives you to know that I have professional credentials, but I also have real life credentials. For sometimes I let know that because life happens to us, and so if I need to cancel because I have a real life emergency, I need you to know, because clients don't want to be blown off, and they don't want to. Sometimes they take it personal, depending on their situation, their diagnosis. They might think that I'm just blowing them off because I don't want to be bothered with them, and that's not the case. I have a real live emergency, so I explain that to them first, and then I go into, like I said, the confidentiality. I let people know the different things, like what is confidential. I let them know, I tell them, and I keep it real with them. I tell them, like, listen, if you come in here and tell me that you smoke weed, or that even if you told me that you smoke crack, like, what I will ask you is to not come here impaired. But I will not.
No way. No way.
Oh, absolutely.
No way.
And everybody don't do that. Now, if I was in a drug and alcohol facility, then that looks different. But if I'm here, because if you're impaired, then what reality are we really getting to? You understand what I'm saying? So
you telling me with a straight face. Hold on. You telling me with a straight face that somebody walked in and you're like, hey, like, just tell me what's going on with you, like, well, I smoke. Like, well, I smoke crack, man. Like, what I'm saying? I just, what I'm saying, it's ruining my relationship, ruining what I think. Like, you telling me with a straight face, like what's your reactions if it happens? Like, and I ain't talking about the new age drug, like, heroin, or not new age, what y'all mean, like, it's crack though?
It don't matter what it is, because that's part of why you coming to me, and it's my job to not judge you. It's my job to, and I deal with a lot of things, like we talking about crack and stuff, but you got to think about, like, sometimes when people are depressed or they're struggling, people stink. You know what I'm saying? So they come in there, and I can't be like, oh my God, you stink. But we have, there's a conversation that I will eventually have with you once the trust is gained. Like, well, hey, and it just it depends on what their diagnosis is, what they're struggling with. Sometimes I just got to suck it up and be like, oh my God, this person stinks. But then the next session, let's just say this is your first session. So the next session that I might do is I'll have candles burning in there. You see what I'm saying? That's your candle? You trying to say I stink because I was the last person there?
No, I'm putting that Byron on the screen.
Oh, him laughing.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, like Angel said in the comments, that addiction is real, and I know it is. Like, I wear a shirt that say Ronald Reagan sold crack because he did, and all that stuff. I get it. Like clinically, I like handling that clinically is the reason why I'm not a social worker. Like, as smart as I am or whatever, like those are the reasons I'm not in the mental health field. Like, because I'm like, nigga, you do what?
Yeah, no, I have to sit there. I've had a person who was HIV positive, and it was my first person that, and I'm doing the assessment, because when I'm doing your assessment, when I'm getting to your history, I'm asking you all of those type of things. I'm asking, if you have a sexual transmitted disease, and depending on the platform, it'll ask you specific stuff. And the first time somebody said, so far I've been doing this for years. So far it's like, are HIV positive? No. Cancer? Yes or no? Is it you or is it somebody in your family? And it's normally like quick, pretty much no. And then this person said yes, and I was just like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like real life, but because I've been doing this for a while, like. And the ignorance in me, I'm gonna be real transparent. The ignorance in me wanted to move away from them. You know what I'm saying? But I knew, first off, I couldn't get it like that, and secondly, how ignorant is that, and how disrespectful is that? And this lady was so nice and sweet, but for a second, and this is why I said about the whole thing about you have to have a passion for this, because it's some stuff you're going to encounter, and the worst thing you can do, think about if I would have scooped my chair, even if I thought I did it subtle, or if I just scooted it to the side, think about how that would have made her feel.
You are completely right. Like, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong at all. I'm actually agreeing and playing it to the point of you saying that it's important to have a passion for this, for sure. Because I do. So you're right. So I'll backtrack my original statement of saying, because I do have a passion for helping people. I swear I do. But and I'm not even a super judgmental person, but like, nigga walk in like, and look, we just did charity stuff for kids or whatever. Me and Angel did some charity stuff that was like off the book, like it wasn't like, so we going around talking to homeless people who, some homeless people are dealing with addiction issues. So they're saying, like, and they're homeless, like, so it ain't like they smell great or nothing like that, like, like they just got stuff going on, and even in that situation, I wasn't like, ha, y'all niggas stink, or nothing crazy like that, but like in a professional setting, I guess that's just the reason why I don't do that. As sympathetic and empathetic as I am, that's the reason why I'm not in that thing. Byron, you have something to say? You want to say?
No, I was just gonna say she did Isaiah Thomas, and how he said he didn't want to play with Magic Johnson on the court because he had got AIDS. But you knew that just shaking somebody's hand or whatever, you can't catch AIDS or whatever. But you talking about if they stink, they can't come in all. That took me out, But what if they're homeless though? You know what I'm saying? What if they fret? No,
that's why I said if they do stink, I can't turn them away because of that, because that speaks to again. Remember when I talked about the things that's not verbally communicated? If you come into my office and it could just be a bad day, like you could have, whatever the case was, but that is when you're struggling with a mental health issue, it's a lot of telltale signs. And when you don't take care of your hygiene, that's part of it. Because if I want to kill myself, I don't care about stuff like hygiene. There are people who, if you watch things like My 600-Pound Life, or if you watch things like, when somebody has been raped, sometimes especially if they've been raped several times, but it doesn't have to be several times, but they will do different things to keep people away from them. So there are people who intentionally gain weight because typically, not so much now, but before, being fat wasn't really a popular thing. Like it wasn't cool to be fat type of thing. If you was fat, you got talked about. So that keeps people away from you. Hygiene is another thing. Sometimes if I smell bad, then I know that's going to keep people away from me. And so for, as a mental health professional, those are telltale signs for me. So I'm not going to turn you away because you smell those type of things. So we're eventually going to address those. Those are conversations that we're going to have. And that's very challenging to have to tell somebody nicely that they stink. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I would never say you stink or anything like that, but I'm just saying, those are the conversations that I have to have. Another thing that when you're talking about like homeless or even, I go into places, and this is why I explained the different platforms, because when I'm doing my community job, I go to people's homes. So that what those homes look like, it can look like, I've been into like some fancy houses that you want to take off not only your shoes but your clothes because you feel like you too dirty to be in here. All the way down to the projects where it's just like, I'm not taking off nothing. I'm not sitting down nothing. I'm serious. Like, but I'm not taking off. I'm not sitting down. I'm not, doing any of those type of things. So but I know this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that this is what I'm dealing with. So, but I treat, that person all the way from where it makes me feel dirty to the person who I feel is dirty. I treat them all the same. And that is a skill that you have to have. It's a skill to have to, go. My first job that I interviewed for, or maybe my second, I can't remember. On the interview, they asked me, they said, well, it was my first job. They said, well, if you were taking a client somewhere and you've been knowing this client for a while, so you trust them and you're taking them, let's say you're taking them to a doctor's appointment or something like that, and they start flipping out, what would you think? So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna kick them out my car. You know what I'm saying? But professionally, I knew that wasn't the right thing to say. So in order to gather my thoughts, I said, well, you know what, to be honest, I never even thought about that because my internship didn't look like this. I said, so I'm just going to take a guess. I would assume that I would pull over to somewhere safe. I would get out the car. I would call you guys, and then I would call, the police to come address this. And they was like, oh, that's the perfect answer. So I thought about that, and I was like, wait a minute, people gonna get in my car and potentially be acting crazy? I called them back like, well, how often, are people am I gonna have to transport people? And they said that I was gonna have to transport people like 60%. I said, oh, well, no, thank you. Like, I couldn't do that job. You know what I'm saying? Because that was scary to me, but that was I was new to the field. So then once I took my next job and I still had to transfer people, whatever, but they told me, they was like, oh, well, you just transfer people. Basically, that's to go above and beyond type of thing. That's not a requirement for you. Your requirement is you will have to go to their houses and you might have to meet them places, but you don't have to transport them. And as I got comfortable, I was able, to transport people. But it speaks again to the level of professional maturity that I had ended up gaining, because from the beginning, like I said, y'all ain't about to get in my car, you know what I'm saying, all the way to now. I don't have a problem within reason and with different things too, because another thing too, like when we talk about police and all of those type of things and fears, and so y'all probably see a lot of buzz about putting social workers in the police force and blah blah blah, and I won't even speak to that because I have a whole bunch to say about that. But it's just really funny how they are fearful, and they're constantly pulling out their weapons because they're afraid. And then you have me, who is not a super big girl, height wise or weight wise. I'm not small either, but where I'm going into these places, sometimes it's a little bit dark. Sometimes I've had a brand new car, all the way down to a hoopty, that I'm taking to these places. And I'm mindful, but I'm not necessarily fearful. And I'm not going with weapons. Like, legally, we can't take weapons, with us. No type of weapons. Technically, we can't even have pepper spray. So it's very, crazy to me that these police officers are jumping to, shooting people when there's other ways, because I've had to talk people off the ledge. I've been in a place where a couple was fighting, and I'm like, is these kids all right? Oh, somebody your mama on the way, and I left out the house, and I called my supervisor like, listen, and I'm never coming back to this person again, and I didn't do that. But I ain't had no weapons. Like if he would have flipped out and started doing something to everybody in the house, like what can I do? So for police to just jump to that is, like I said, I can just go on and on about that, but those are situations that you put yourself in, on the flip side for the therapist or the mental health professional. So you have to know what you're getting into. Because you could.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, B.
No, when you said, people get in your car and they might, harm you. I had an experience like that. Somebody got in my car and, we driving, and dude just hauled off, punched me in the face. And he had a disability or whatever, so I had to pull over and tell him, to calm down. He was like, he was kicking my speaker, still trying to hit me. I was like, look, I'm gonna call the police on you. And dude was like, no, because they take him to the police, they're gonna take him to the hospital. He's gonna be in that straitjacket in that room, that padded room. And he sobered up real quick when I told him that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's interesting. So it's we having fun here and all that stuff, and what I'm saying, and some of the stories are crazy, what I'm saying. But just like Byron had an experience with that, so I had an experience with not necessarily like veterans where like what I'm saying, they hygiene wasn't great, or like the house was like completely disgusting. What I'm saying? And in order for your house to get that bad, like you gotta be something mental going on upstairs. Like something, I mean, like at one point in time, like we all had roaches or whatever, right? But this is like these was active, like daytime active roaches. I had never seen nothing like that before in my life. What I'm saying? But so clearly something mentally had to be going on, and I was never like there like making jokes or whatever, because I was in the professional atmosphere and all that stuff. So I think when it's time to be professional, of course, like we're good people, so we'll make the right decisions to be professional. In any situation, just like Regina said, she said a little bit earlier. She said, yes, I wouldn't have made it. She said, yes, I would have made it worse. Like if you. I'm sorry. To you, Ebony, she said that you would have made it worse with the girl that had an odor or whatever if you didn't have a passion about it. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place trying to read. But if you didn't have a passion about it, then you would have made it worse or made her feel a certain type of way, so that she probably would have never came back and all that good stuff. So I just think that we do like having a passion for it. You're right, and I was wrong. Having a passion for it is different than just want to help people, for sure. So my question to you before we get out of here is, as much as you know about me, if I came into a therapy session with you, who would actually be getting the therapy at the end of the day?
Well, that's a different situation, because when I'm even as my younger brother or whatever, there's a lot of things.
I'm saying if you don't know me, like you know me as in my like how I am as a person, but like let's say you didn't know me, you were just a person, a client. I was just a client.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying this part first. As my younger brother or whatever, like there's a lot of times that I come to him or whatever, and he likes to say that he's my therapist and all of this stuff. And I allow that intentionally, and purposely. And I'm not disagreeing with that being the case, but versus when you come into my session, it would look totally different, because that's why I said, even though I share some personal stuff, there's a lot of stuff that you're not going to get out of me in a session. So a good therapist should not be, now it does happen all the time. I've had a lot of clients where it's like, well, I was in there counseling them. So it just depends on what type of therapist that you're going to. And so sometimes the therapists think that by sharing, because there's a difference between sharing and oversharing. So even, there's times where I talk like, my 16-year-old, blah, 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 something, or I understand because I had a similar experience with my 16-year-old, but I won't go into details. You see what I'm saying? But there are some therapists who, like I said, where clients have said, we spent most of our session where I was counseling them. So it does happen. It just depends on who you are. I go see a therapist. And it's never a time where, and she knows I'm a therapist. So I do a lot of, I guess, self-therapy, which is not a real thing. But I've been with this lady for over a year and I don't know too much about that lady. I know that she has some twins and I know that she have a husband and that's it. I don't know nothing else. I think they boys. I don't know their age. I don't know anything about them. So as a good counselor, you would not be able to get that off, is my whole point.
I'll be digging. Regina wanted me to tell you, she said, tell Ebony about the Vicks, please. Put Vicks in your nostrils is what she said. She said she's done it. Put it in your times.
I've learned that too. Yeah, I've learned that there's a lot of tricks of the trade, I guess, because I had this one car that I would take people, like when I was doing case management, I would take people to the food banks and stuff like that. And so this one car I had these two girls and they both suffer from depression. And so their hygienes wasn't good. They were really good people, really sweet people, but their hygiene, and I couldn't get that smell out of my car for nothing. When I tell you all nothing, I could not get that smell out of my car. So when I went to another job, what I would do, instead of taking them to the food bank, I set up with the food bank. I got all their information and I would put the food in my car and take the food to them. So it's a lot of tricks of the trade, that I've had to adapt to. The one last thing I want to say to Regina's comment is, oh my God, I absolutely wish I would have been there when you were 13, because I talked about it again earlier on the show. So let me just say, y'all too, like, we always do plugs and all of that stuff, but I really, really hope that y'all go back and watch the show today. I feel like it was a really, really good show. I had somebody on there who has been diagnosed with bipolar, and she just talked a lot about her experience. And I think that it gives a very different perspective because, as professionals, there's only so much information that I can give you. And I'm giving it from a certain point of view versus her. It may be a little bit more relatable. So please go back and go to, and check out the Enduring the Course with Ebony J for the one specifically today. But the other thing that I want to say is that I also talked about on there my nonprofit. So I put it out there that I have one. I don't put a lot of information out yet because it's not fully functioning yet, but it will be. I'm shooting for July 16th. One of the things that I noticed working with clients is that when somebody else is part of the treatment process, which is very important to have people, supportive and a part of your treatment process. So even things like, so that could be a parent, that could be a spouse. Sometimes that's the teachers, that's, all different type of people. And what I learned is that a lot of times people, particularly parents, will bring their kids to me or to, to places that I'm working, and they want us to fix the kids. And there has been so many times where I've had to call, or sometimes I couldn't, just because the parent wouldn't have been receptive, and that might have been detrimental to the child, like might not have been safe for the child. So I couldn't call the parent out, but there has been times where I have. So what I decided to do, instead of being in that realm where I have those restrictions, my nonprofit speaks specifically to that. So when you come to me, as the parent of this child, you are going to know that you are going to get caught out on some stuff if you need it, because the reality of it is sometimes us as parents, we put our own biases, we put our own fears, we put our own issues, and we put our own, experiences on our kids, and we end up messing them up. And it's not intentional, it's not, anything like that, but it is. Or we'll have parents who, be like, oh, something wrong with my kid. I know they, they got this and this. And again, the reality is that a lot of mental health is hereditary. So if your child is bipolar, for example, there's a very good chance that one or both parents are also bipolar. So when you want me to come and fix that child, I have to give you tools, or I have to give you, things that you need to look at yourself and make sure that you aren't part of the problem. I'm also writing a guide for parents that speaks to that same thing, and I talk about that and I put it in there. Like sometimes you're the problem. So just to Regina's point, like sometimes therapy doesn't feel helpful to maybe a kid because sometimes it's looked at as a punishment. Or I've had parents like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna tell Miss Ebony, or I've had parents call me like, well they did such and such, should I whoop their butt or should I not? And we have to have those conversations, and that conversation looks like, well, did you whoop them for that before, or have you, how does whoopings look in your house? Like, does it work? Well, no, then why are you whooping them? Then we need to do something different. So there's a lot of times that I have to call parents out, and it doesn't look like me attacking the parents. I don't always say, I very rarely say you're the problem to the parents. I just will say, in a nice type of way, like, well, maybe you should look at this. Maybe it's your discipline. What's going in the home? What's the environment? But at the end of the day, what I'm ultimately saying is you're part of the problem. So I definitely wish that I could have, I would have loved it. I love those type of things.
I agree. I think that's great. Virginia said, I think my mom's bipolar skipped me and jumped to my son. I think my unprofessional opinion, I think it's very possible. I think like in my family, we talk about, we got like gamblers or drinkers or something in my family. I forgot which one. It's kind of bad, but we felt like it did skip a generation. You know what I'm saying? So maybe both or whatever. Like I felt like it skipped a generation. For like a cousin of mine or something, and maybe the older sibling got it and the younger sibling didn't, or vice versa. Whatever it is. So I think that is very possible that things like that do skip generations. I don't know. I just think it's a super possibility.
Oh yeah, it is. That's why I said like it is not guaranteed that you're going to have it or whatever, but there is a possibility. Somebody in that family has to have it for it to come down the pipeline. But is Regina's mom still alive? Because I would say just from the different comments, I would say her mom definitely struggled from a mental health. Probably undiagnosed or at the very least untreated. Just from her comments, I would, of course, that's just, you can't really do that without actually, but just some of the things that Regina has experienced. I will also, Regina, if you're not doing this and, not to call you out or whatever, but I would also suggest that you look into some things. Never mind, Regina, I'm going to inbox you. I'm going to inbox you.
Yeah, I think that'd be great for you guys to connect. So as we get out of here, Ebony J, they said Ebony J took over the show, which I've never.
I know. Look, I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, I try to be very like, listen, I want to go talk about 3 things, and that's it. So my apologies, y'all, but I just felt like because of the direction we was going, that those was important things to do.
No, and you did it right. You did what our brand, our umbrella was all about, which is being flexible and being able to interact with the people who you are entertaining or who comes to you for any type of entertainment or treatment or escape. You know what I'm saying? Like you did what you're supposed to do. So I'm definitely on that. Plus, my big sister. What can I say? Honestly, you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, you know what? Virginia's a top fan. Ebony J, family, of course. So, go ahead and make that connection. It could be good for everybody involved. Like no joke included in that. Like as much as Virginia was able to share with us, like just throughout this entire journey, throughout this entire 80 shows. I'm sure she wasn't there at day one, but she was there early enough to be recognized as a top fan. So, she's always, giving some input to the show, and and she appears to be liking stuff she's saying. So if you're able to help her or give her some advice or whatever the case is, I think this is great for everybody involved. Tell the people something every day before we get out of here.
So I don't know, just be on the lookout for Enduring the Course, everything Enduring the Course as it continues to grow and evolve and all of those type of things. And again, just shout out to y'all for having me, for allowing me to take over again. And that's it. I'm working on my catchphrase, y'all. So right now what I have is what I've had for the last couple of weeks, and it's just simply, enough is not enough. And for me, that just means until you see change. That could go for everything. It's not just the Black Lives Matter thing, but it plays into mental health for me too, or relationships or whatever. Until you see it change and until it's working for you, then it's not enough. So keep pushing.
I definitely agree with that. D, wake up.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember to check out all of our different shows on Facebook and any media platform like Spotify or Apple Music. Thanks for our top fans. Thanks for our new fans for tuning in. We are not having a show next week. We'll see y'all week after the holiday, and remember to own your own.
Man, I love it. Shout out to both of y'all, man. Shout out to the one with the catchphrase. Shout out to the one without a catchphrase officially. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to all of y'all for joining us as always. We couldn't do it without y'all, and I mean that shit. Like, as much as I possibly can. Like, we couldn't do it without y'all joining us and then interacting with us. Episode number 80. You know what I'm saying? And it started out with just a couple of us. It started out with just me and Byron. It was just the Epiphany Media podcast. You know what I'm saying? No conversations with Ebony J. You know what I'm saying? No just Bloom with Brittany J. No I Said What I Said podcast. So, we just steady growing. And like I said, we couldn't make none of this happen without you guys. So thanks to all of our top fans, like Byron said. Thanks to all the new fans for sure. Be sure to like and share and subscribe to Facebook. So I guess the YouTube side of it, but I just want to say thanks, man. Like, that's all I can say. Regina, and I just want to put this out there. Regina said, "Thanks for having me. Thanks to Angel for inviting me. Have a good week, everybody. Be safe. Happy belated birthday. Thank you." And I guess that goes for every day as well. I can't leave her out of that for sure.
Yes, thank you.
So we're gonna get out of here. Like Byron said, no show next week. Next Sunday, I will have a show on Wednesday for politics. Be sure to join me there. I'm working on a guest that I think I got lined up, but I'm not officially. It's not confirmed, but I'm definitely working on something for there. Just some random stuff going on in politics universe. And yeah, man, if y'all need anything from us, y'all got topics for us, anything y'all want to see, any guests or anything like that, be sure to hit us up for sure. And with that said, the best catchphrase of all of them, of course. Salute to the city, man. We out of here, and we'll catch y'all in a couple weeks, man, for sure.